The wall of secrecy. Why do elites escape justice while ordinary people pay the price? And this is something that has been said over and over and over, and it's coming back. It's coming back in a very strong way between what's going on with Prince Andrew and the Epstein scandal and what's going on with US Congress and the Epstein scandal. So across the UK, right, across the UK and the United States, two seemingly separate events, right? The Prince Andrew Epstein scandal, right, and the US Congress handling of the Epstein files. They have converged. They have converged into a single global story about elite impunity and institutional secrecy. Both reveal the same uncomfortable truth that when the powerful are accused, accountability bans, delays, or disappears altogether. And we're seeing that right now. There's been 3 articles in the Financial Times about these particular issue that the monarchy in England needs to do something. We thought we were done with this thing. I mean, he lost his titles, he lost everything. Now they want to kick him out of that room. They want to kick him out of his 30-room mansion. That's what's happening. So let's explore what happens, how it compares the treatment in ordinary citizen and what it means with the legitimate of modern institutions. We are going after modern institutions here, folks. Be very wary of this, like the British monarchy. There's questioning right now as to what is it that they should have done and they should be doing more. Yes, they took his titles. Yes, they took away all his toys. But he still lives in a 30-room mansion at the expense of rent-free, basically. And then you have Congress that basically is essentially holding off on a vote. Maybe not holding off. Maybe it's because there is a shutdown. Okay, well, we'll see. Shutdown is going to end pretty soon, I'm telling you. So once that shutdown ends, then they're going to vote. They're going to vote on this continuation that's going to allow the release of all information having to do with Epstein, and not just the testimony. We are talking literally about financial documents, who was involved, who traded, the names, the people, the institution. And this time around, it would appear that the institution, the banks, are being sued. Don't make no mistake. So, first of all, this thing about the Prince Andrew, right? The long association with Epstein is well known, right? And became one of the most damaging scandals. He was accused of sexual assault, was trafficked by Epstein, right? And they said that he settled out of almost 12 million pounds without admitting guilt, right? So at that time, there was public outrage, obviously. It's continued residence, and this is where it hurts. His continued residence at the 30-room Royal Lodge, reportedly rent-free, after being stripped of public duties, infuriating the public in the UK. Too many, it symbolizes royal privilege without accountability. Why is it that's bothering us? Why is it that basically looks like they're getting away with it? The scandal broke the image of the monarchy as a moral institution and exposed its dependence on public goodwill rather than legal or democratic legitimacy. And the monarchy is being damaged. The monarchy's credibility suffered a moral collapse, not a constitutional one. For younger generation, the episode reinforced the view that the royals protect their own, even when moral principles demand otherwise. You could see, right, between the US and the UK, they are facing the same dilemma right now. That is an issue. Now, how are they going to deal with it? That is a question. Because they're wondering, what is going to happen? And we shall see. But It's damage to the monarchy. Now, is it going to be damage to this institution in the U.S.? We shall see, because Congress needs to do something. So obviously, King Charles have tried to modernize the monarchy. He's now struggling against the lingering shadow of at least secrecy. Now, on the other hand, the congressional stalemate, right, in the United States, growing frustration surrounds Congress with slow, fragmented, and opaque handling of the Epstein-related documents. Despite the bipartisan interest, including a discharge petition, that is what you need to understand, right? It's the petition. This discharge petition is becoming an issue, because that will allow the release of unclassified files. But progress has been very minimal. So basically, what that does is that it's going to force a vote on Congress. And the reason you need to force a vote is because Speaker Johnson is basically saying, what's the point? I've already asked for the release of 30,000 pages of information. We went out and we also got Ghislaine Maxwell, right, to come out and talk for like 2 days. But basically, when you're looking at it, you say, okay, that's it? There's nothing there. There's absolutely nothing. She's basically said that nothing happened, and the files are just a redaction of what everybody knows already. So you see, nothing happened. But that's not possible, right? So many Americans suspect intentional delay or obstruction as names of politically connected individuals remains hidden. So why do people see parallels? Is because, like the royal scandal, the Epstein file exposes a two-tier system. Elites negotiate behind closed doors. In fact, Bill Clinton and all these people, they did go to Congress, believe it or not. They did testify, but it was behind closed doors. What happened there? No one knows. So elite negotiate behind the closed doors, and the victims and the public face silence, censorship, or dismissal. This has created a perception that the U.S. political class protects itself, just as British monarchy protects its own. Is that what's happening? Now, why do we have this kind of wall of secrecy? And what could this mean for the future? Well, number one, institutional self-preservation. These people want to keep on living the good life. Powerful institutions act to contain damage, not reveal it. Whether it's a monarchy, Congress, or intelligence agency, they each fear that full exposure of the Epstein network would implicate senior figures, donors, and allies. I mean, a lot of money went around. Right? There were millions of dollars that went back and forth and back and forth. Apollo, this investment banking called Apollo, basically gave him $156 million. The CEO gave it to him. The CEO and founder of Victoria's Secret Limited gave to Epstein power of attorney. And very lately, Upnick, our Commerce Secretary, came out and said, I lived next to Epstein in Manhattan, and basically, one day he invited me to his house, and I went there, and he had a massage table in the middle of the floor. I got out of there because this guy is basically and he said it and he quoted it, and take a look at the video on that. He's a blackmailer. So things happen there. But frankly, most of these people basically kind of disappeared, left their job, lost their crown or whatever, but nobody went to jail like the regular people would. So this number two is legal and financial barriers. Elites use tools unavailable to the public. Non-disclosure agreement, sealed court records, private settlements, strategic use of wealth to delay or deflect justice. These are technically legal, but structurally unjust. They allow wrongdoing to be buried behind paperwork and privilege. And of course, and this is something that Congress Speaker Johnson mentioned about it, national interest excuse. Authorities often claim that releasing names or documents would compromise investigation or threaten national security. So there's something to be said about that, right? That frankly, at the end of the day, uh, is this really fair? So there's an unequal burden of justice between the ordinary person and the powerful individual. The ordinary person faces arrest and public trial. The powerful then negotiate privately. The ordinary people, assets are seized or frozen. The powerful, wealth is used to stall or settle. Ordinary people, records are public. Powerful people, files are sealed. See where I'm going with this? Public, ordinary person face stigma or imprisonment. The powerful retains privileges and reputation. I mean, take a look at what happened with Ghislaine Maxwell. She came out. She literally lied for 2 days, right? She lied for 2 days by saying that nothing happened. It was big misunderstanding. I mean, I got paid $30 million because I was helping him in his business. Nothing to do with the girls. I don't know what happened there. This is a fallacy. So technically, by her being in that room with the assistant district attorney and lying because she was proven guilty of doing these things. And then she's saying, I did not do these things that you told me I did. So she's lying technically. And technically, they should tack out some more. Because even though you have immunity, she had immunity, during those 2 days, during the summer. But you don't have immunity to lie. That's what she did. Got 30 years for, doing the thing that she said that she didn't do. She got away with that, technically. And then she gets moved to a facility called Club Fed, where the inmates are there for a few years, but nothing like she was before. She got a good deal. In fact, at some point, they were talking about giving her clemency. And this is where people get upset. And of course, number 5, what people have limited legal options, while the elite have access to elite defense network. So the imbalance, vividly illustrated in both the Prince Andrew situation and the Epstein cases, formed the foundation for public outrage. It's not just about one man and one set of file, right? It's not forget Prince, and it's about the global crisis of fairness. We want to drain the swamp. This is a thing. It's a very serious thing. Is that you could use it to get elected, but then you got to live by it. So broader implication, number 1, erosion of trust. Both scandals deepen the public sense that institutions no longer serve justice but survival. In the UK, it undermines the monarchical legitimacy. In the US, it weakens democratic credibility. Number 2, the global pattern. From London to Washington, power is defended through silence, influence, and legal containment. Take a look at it. This is what this channel is about. This channel is about analyzing what's happening to explain to you what's really going on so you could see, something else is going on here. Moral consequences, number 3. When systems repeatedly fail to hold elites accountable, citizens lose faith, not just in individual, but in the idea of justice itself. So what does this do? Well, then people vote for different kind of people. In Europe, right, they're basically moving to the right. In France, they're moving to the right more and more and more. They're disappointed. They're viewing the countries being invaded by foreigners. Right? They're being attacked, and they feel they're losing. They're losing it. So therefore, they want to go back to this idea, that they had before, and therefore they don't believe the elites, and they want to give the power to the people. And of course, see, this works in the end. It's just political rhetoric. But at the end of the day, this cynicism feeds populism, extremism, and disillusion with democracy. They're saying, away with the president. Who needs a president in Europe, in France? So it's not just it's a bigger issue. It's not just a tiny little issue about the Congress and Prince Charles. It's about something deeper is going on here. And then the more consequences, yes, you're feeding populism. I want to go to the right. I want to go to the extreme right. I mean, in Europe, they're going for the same party that was really very close to, Hitler in World War II. Of course, they're using as the Nazis, and of course they're not Nazis. But the point is, you're moving to very close to a group of people that we thought at one point, no, we would never elect such people. Well, yeah, because now populism is too much abuse. So the Prince Andrew scandal and the stalled Epstein files are not isolated controversies. They are symptoms of a large disease, a world where privilege rewrites accountability. Both reveal a common truth that the institutions that claim it to uphold justice are often the first to hide it when it threatens their own. Sounds familiar? Under the wall of secrecy, and until it falls, Buckingham Palace or in Congress, trust will continue to erode, and the moral gap between the powerful and the poor will only grow wider. Be careful. This is becoming something larger. This is becoming something very deep. Right? Think about it. Think about it for 1 second. You're going to say, well, it doesn't impact me. Who cares? Congress. Well, hold on. Think about it this way. Maybe, just maybe, and I did a video on that. Maybe the shutdown, and if you're in the government, you lost your job, that impacted you. Maybe the shutdown somehow was tied to this vote that is being postponed. I mean, certainly is very helpful. I mean, obviously the shutdown was caused because the Democrats wanted to have, they wanted to take a stand, really, something, because they're losing ground everywhere. So they said, let me take a stand on healthcare, because we have to. It makes sense. I mean, yeah, healthcare is very important, but we got to make a stand somewhere. So let's make a stand on healthcare. But the Republicans could have said, okay, fine, let's just sign. Okay, whatever. They didn't. Now, don't forget, at the same time, Massey, before what happened with Congress with the shutdown, a Republican, Massey is a Republican, wanted this file, he wanted to put a vote on the floor to release everything. And he needed 218 votes, which he almost got. He got 217. But the 218, he can't get it through because technically the government shut down, and Johnson says, I never said I don't want to do it. I'm just not right now. And obviously, when it gets released, it's going to be obviously after the government shut down. And, between the opening of the government and, maybe the news cycle is you're going to lose that news cycle. It's quite possible that you lose that. So nobody's going to pay too much attention. Therefore, it is a thing. It is something that you need to worry about, because it impacts the government to a certain extent. And now does it impact it for it to be reopened? Well, not any longer, because now I think Speaker Johnson is actually being sued over why you're not holding a vote. Technically, you don't have to wait, technically. Why? Because obviously Congress can vote, right? Since they're going to vote to open the government. So they could vote. It's just, they say, well, this is not the right time for this. Let's just wait. Let's just wait. So you could see how this permeates this idea that you're protecting the elite. And we're not just talking about, forget the individuals. Because you could say, well, he was involved and he was in some book, and forget those because no one is going to go to jail. These people are not going to go to jail. But what's happening right is Bank of America is being sued. Bank of New York. JP Morgan was sued before and they paid up. The monarchy is shaking right now. They're asking King Charles, I mean, how much did you actually know about what went on? And why is your brother, I mean, even though he's not technically guilty, but he appear guilty, living in a 30-room mansion, rent-free? Kick him out. What else? You know what I mean? Okay, fine, you're taking a title, but big deal. This is a joke almost. I mean, look at all these girls suffered, right, for years. I mean, if you read the book or you heard stories, I mean, this was a lot of people involved in this thing. Okay, and it's a pretty sad thing, and therefore you need to worry about this. Okay, so as far as Prince Andrew, I mean, he's a convicted, right, and he's living rent free right now, and this is. It's just not me saying it. There's multiple articles coming out in the British press right now. It's saying, this doesn't sit right. He lives in a 30-room mansion on the Windsor estate, even after losing public duties and titles, reinforce the idea that he's being rewarded for disgrace. So you take away his titles, you take away everything from him, but he's still living large, right? And of course, the thing is, a book that came out, in the book, there's this sentence keeps coming back and forth over that he was entitled, right? This is owed to him, meaning that it was he faced renewed criticism, and basically Virginia Groff basically mentioned that she knew him when she was 17 years old, and after Epstein introduced her to him, and that Andrew regarded her as his birthright. He was entitled to whatever he wanted to do. And that doesn't help the situation for the royals because they're back again. So there's an unequal treatment in the tier system. Right? The case reflects that many call a two-tiered justice system, one for the powerful and the other for everyone else. But it does impact you right now, believe it or not. Victims of Epstein network obviously contrast sharply with Andrew's ability to avoid prosecution. Make it feel like justice stops at the gate of privilege. And there's, of course, this continued silence and protection. King Charles never came out and said anything about it. Did you know? Did your brother, man? You guys didn't know anything. You just signed a check and he was gone. Okay? To many, Prince Andrew has become a symbol of unaccountable aristocracy, someone who benefits endlessly from inherited privilege while the public faces austerity, housing crisis, and inflation. And the UK right now, coincidentally, is not doing that well. So the anger isn't just about him personally, it's about a system that protects elites at the expense of transparency and fairness. And that's the issue. Now, this is going to be a defining crisis for the British royal family. They're going to have to do something more than that. I mean, don't forget, the royals basically rely on public legitimacy, not legal power. They are meant to embody duty, integrity, and service. And they have technically a pedophile living in a 30-room mansion for free. Right? His association with Epstein and his refusal to cooperate meaningfully with U.S. investigators stuck at the monarchy's moral image. And they kind of got away with it. Yet the disastrous, they made a bunch of movies about it in 2019, his BBC interview. The family decision to cut Andrews from official duties and strip him titles was a clear signal, but it's not enough. The same way when, they said that there's nothing to be seen in the U.S. I mean, there's nothing here. There's nothing. There is something. However, the continued residence at the Royal Lodge and protection by the institution suggests inconsistent accountability. Let me mark my word, they're going to go after him. They're going to kick him out. Right? It worsened the tension between the working royals who uphold public duties and those seen in liabilities. And of course, and this is what's going to happen in this country as well, is there's a shifting attitude. Trust in the royal family fell sharply after 2019. Many view Andrew as an embodiment of untouchable elitism. The sense that the royals' close ranks around him created a feeling of betrayal. The long-term implication, the scandal is not just about Andrew, it's about the monarchy response to wrongdoing among its own. Lack of transparency. So, I mean, it's not that the monarchy is going to fall tomorrow. The same way Congress is not going to fall tomorrow or anything like that. But it's gonna be, and don't forget, this is within a context in the U.S. especially of there's a lot of things going on here. You know, there's China, the U.S. weapons building up, closing in, right? And China trying to discuss with China, and nothing is really going on with China because they cannot do anything with them, right? So it's an ongoing situation, and the accountability gap problem. Andrew's continued residence is amazingly enough. So keep in mind, Prince Andrew, see what happens there. See how they are going to react to it. You are going to be surprised at how this is going to end. And this may not end well for him. In the US, it may not end well for Bank of New York, Bank of America, right? A few people are going to get entangled in this. Names are going to come out. And of course, it impacts sorely the Republicans because they're in charge of this thing. Be careful. The Democrats are not doing well. But if the Republicans, and unfortunately, they literally form a block around the president, more power to them, but they cannot move without him. And how long is that going to last? And especially if this goes sideways. So be careful out there. See what happens next. There is more to come.